for the next interview, I'm going to interview Jim Jordan, who's a celebrity photographer who has taken pictures with people like Kris Jenner, right? And this is Instagram with 120,000 followers. He's done so many covers from Elle to Vogue. He's done, and a lot of them are his models as well. He has over 60 supermodels and talents and influencers that he's currently managing. This is him with Leonardo DiCaprio, him with Miley Cyrus, and a few other celebrities. Okay, he's done a lot of videos for people like Giorgio Armani, billion-dollar brands. Taylor Hill. Taylor Hill is someone that he trained from the ground up. Taylor Hill, she's a Victoria's Secret supermodel making about $30 million a year, and a lot of other top people that he has taken videos or photographs for. Okay, so and this is all the press releases, all the celebrity magazines that he has done as well. So this interview is going to be very exciting because it's a different twist, but he's definitely a very, very strong entrepreneur. It's a different kind of interview than what I normally do, but you're definitely going to get a lot of value from learning from Jim Jordan. He has an amazing story to share. Yeah. What's up? This is Alaric Ong, and today I'm here with Jim Jordan. Now, Jim Jordan is the CEO and founder of White Cross Productions and White Cross Management, as well as the global luxury brands White Cross Collections and White Cross Beauty and Cosmetics. He's an award-winning CEO and a world-renowned celebrity fashion lifestyle photographer and director represented by CAA. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me.
Maybe you could share a little bit more about who are the celebrities that you help, who are the brands that you help, what's the work that you do, and then we'll just go from there.
Okay, I work with a lot of brands like American Express and J. Crew and Brooks Brothers. I do a lot of different campaigns for De Beers Diamonds. I work for a lot of luxury brands. I've done stuff with Louis Vuitton and Gucci, and I manage, I have a talent management, a roster of a lot of supermodels that I've discovered and fostered, like Taylor Hill and Gigi Hadid and Jeremy Meeks, the hot felon. I have a long kind of a journey of where I am now and what I've done, and I love helping people, and I have a vision, and my vision has kind of led me to having a really beautiful career and a lot of different facets in the fashion and entertainment business.
So how do you get started in entrepreneurship, and maybe you can share a little bit more about your entrepreneurship journey? Yeah.
Okay, so when I was a kid, when I was really young, I was fascinated. I had a girlfriend in like the 8th grade that got discovered by a man named John Casablanca, who owned Elite Modeling Agency. And we were inseparable, and she got sent away to Paris and Milan when she was a young girl. And I was devastated, like, who's this man that goes around finding beautiful girls and sends them off and makes them supermodels? So I was like, dang, I love that, and I want to do that. So I got a little business card when I was in the 8th grade with my name and my mom's phone number on the back, and I'd go hitchhike and skateboard to all the schools and find girls and guys I thought could be models. And I'd go into the school, give them their cards, say, could you have your mom and dad call me? I'm a model scout. So I started scouting models when I was really young, and taking pictures of them doing their hair and makeup, and taking pictures of them and bringing them into the modeling agencies. And every model I bring in, they were signing and giving contracts to them. And so I was like, whoa, I'm onto something. And a lot of things started turning in my life around that time. And I was a kid with hard knocks and bullied, and I didn't fit in. And I had a kind of a rough, challenge with kind of trying to fit in to be cool and be like the world thought was cool as a kid. And I was just like this artistic kid with a vision and a journey, like to wanting to help and find beauty in everything. So when I was a young kid at 15, I was kidnapped by a man that kind of took me on the road on a journey for about a year, a little over a year. And that's a whole nother story, and it really gave me, it taught me a lot. And it taught me a lot about living on the streets and being desperate and doing things that I would have never have done or experienced being with this person. And it kind of made me fearless. And so when you were
kidnapped when you were 15 years old for one whole year. And why
Yeah,
didn't you get fit? You couldn't
for
escape.
6 months. The first time it was for 6 months.
Okay.
And then that's another really long story, but I want to keep it just the flow going.
Okay.
And then I was taken away, and then I came back 6 months later for about a month, and then I went away again with this person. And so when I was young, I got a passport to get away from this situation. I got a passport and ran away and moved to Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved to Milan, and I was homeless there. And I was living on the streets trying to just kind of make my way in Europe. And I started working, met modeling agencies over there. And one of the owners of the agencies was like, you should be doing hair and makeup for photographers and working for magazines. Because I had a natural gift to do makeup and hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I started meeting magazines and photographers in Milan. And I started a career over there doing makeup and hair. And I got some really good magazines that gave me a chance, and I proved myself, and I was like, I can do this. And so I started working for magazines in Milan and Paris.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there until I was 19. 3 years I was over in Europe, creating a career doing makeup and hair.
Wow.
I came back to Los Angeles when I was 19. I got an agent to represent me. It was a hair and makeup agency that represents like the best hair and makeup people in the world. And I came back from Europe with a portfolio with like Vogue and Harper Bazaar and all these great magazine covers that I was doing. And I started traveling in Los Angeles. They started representing me, and I started traveling around the world with Elizabeth Taylor and Sophia Loren and Whitney Houston and all these supermodels and super movie stars and actors like Nick Cage and Jeff Bridges and Kurt Russell, Whitney, Farrah, Sophie Loren, Molly Ringwald, on and on and on. And I got to work on set every day on photo shoots with photographers like Helmut Newton and Herb Ritz and Patrick Demarchier, Peter Lindbergh. And I was learning, and I was taking it all in, being on set, watching these masters of photography creating these images. So that's kind of how my makeup and career started happening, which got me in the door in a front row seat to see the photography, fashion world, and celebrity world. And I was just like soaking everything up like a sponge, asking a million questions and sitting with Elizabeth Taylor in her bathroom in the morning for 2 hours, doing her makeup and interviewing her and talking to her about her career and her boldness. And I started realizing like these people at the top of their game were just like us. They were no different. Mm-hmm. They all had these emotions, and they were so relatable to how we all are. Mm-hmm. And I think that the world always tried to paint where I thought that these people were just very untouchable, and they were so different. Mm-hmm. And they were at the top of their game and famous. Yeah. Rich. And I always just and so working with these people, and on that level, I started realizing these people are just like us. We're all the same. Mm-hmm. And it's like what we do with our gifts. And so I did hair and makeup for 15 years, and I traveled around the world and did makeup and cut hair and transform people. And I started taking pictures on the side, on the work. And I had a little camera, and I'd bring it to work on my hair and makeup jobs. Uh-huh. And I'd be working with Cindy Crawford all day on the beach in Jones Beach in New York, doing Bloomingdale's, doing her makeup and hair. Mm-hmm. So during the lunch break, I would say, hey, will you walk down the beach with me on our lunch break? And I'd whip out my camera so nobody could see. The photographer couldn't see I was taking pictures of his talent that they were paying for. And I started shooting, hiding out, taking pictures of these superstars. Mm-hmm. And I did that with Farrah Fawcett and Whitney Houston and Elizabeth Taylor and all these supermodels. And I started hiding the pictures in a black box that I had at my home. So I started, because I didn't want to put out into the world I was trying to be a photographer. I just captured these moments with these people, how I wanted to see them. And it was like a journal, and it was like my journal of how I wanted to just remember these moments with these movie stars and supermodels. So I started collecting these photos and I never showed anybody. I hid it away in my closet.
Okay.
And I kept it very secretive. And like I say, I was working on set every day with the legend master photographers. And I never ever wanted to, I never thought ever I could be like get in their lane or become a great photographer, because I always had the voices in my head saying, you're not technical enough, you don't know enough about cameras, you don't know enough about light meters and power packs and all these type of things. And so I always kind of hid out on the sidelines on set, just kind of wishing, and like it was kind of a dream one day that maybe I could do that, but the voices were so powerful, it always kept me like hiding and keeping my photos hidden in the closet. And so I was working on a job with J. Crew on I was doing all their hair and makeup on all their catalogs, and they used to stand me next to the photographer. And the owner, Emily, Senator, was always saying, Jim, stand next to the photographer and direct and art direct, instigate the models to kind of do stuff. Because a lot of the photographers were from Europe and they didn't speak that good of English. So, and all the models were really connected to me. We used to have so much fun on set. So I would always like say, pick her up, throw her over your shoulder, spin her around. And the photographer would be taking the pictures. So after a bunch of jobs like that, they were basically using me to art direct on the set while I was doing the makeup and hair. A lot of the models would come to the owner, Emily, who was always on set. She was really friendly with all of us. They were like, why don't you have Jim take the pictures? And she was like, he doesn't take pictures. What do you mean? And they're like, he takes pictures. He's an amazing photographer, but he won't tell anybody. He's afraid to show anyone his photos. So she came up to me and she goes, hey, you've been working with us for 7 years and you've never told me you take pictures, and we love your energy. And why haven't you ever told me you take pictures? I'm like, I just take pictures for fun, and it's not to really show anybody. It's just to document my journey, and it's like my journal. And she said, well, I want to see your portfolio. I want to see those pictures. And I go, I don't have a portfolio. It's just a black box of pictures that I hide away that I don't show anyone. I don't want to be compared to or critiqued. I think we got cut off. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
And so that was it. So she forced me to show me the photos. And she says, I'm not going to work with you anymore if you don't show me your pictures, because I was so adamant that I didn't want to show her my photos. So I ended up, she said, I'm never going to book you again if you don't show me your pictures. You have to show me. So she goes, you're coming to New York in a week and a half. I want you to bring that black box of pictures. So I was like, are you joking me? You're not going to hire me? Come on, Emily, don't be like that with me. I don't want to show anyone. And so I brought my black box to New York, and I skateboarded uptown with my backpack and came in the room, in the conference room, and all the art directors came in the room, and she said, Jim's here to show us his pictures. And they were like, are you kidding? Like, what do you mean? Jim doesn't shoot pictures. They're like, yeah, he does, but he doesn't tell anybody. And so they opened the black box of pictures, and I turned my back. I didn't want to even look at them looking at my photos. So I just stood in the corner kind of with my back toward the table, and I could hear them like, oh my God, are you serious? Like, it was pictures of all these movie stars and supermodels. And they were like, how do you know these people? Like, how did you get a chance to shoot these people? Like, this is crazy. Long story short, they were just like, this is amazing. We want to give you a job. And they gave me a job shooting for J. Crew. And that was one of my first shoots. And a week and a half, like a couple weeks later, she was like, it's time for you to lay down your makeup and hair brushes and start picking up a camera, that you're super talented and you should go meet agents in New York. And I want to give you a list of photo agents to represent photographers for you to go meet. And then the voices in my head were like, you suck, you're gonna blow your career. You'll never work again for another photographer. If they find out you're taking pictures, they will never book you again. You're gonna lose your house. You're gonna lose everything you ever worked for. Who do you think you are? You don't even know how to use a camera. So I was like scared to death. I kept making excuses to her, like, I can't quit doing makeup. I can't quit doing hair. I have all the most amazing clients. The photographers I work with will never work with me again. And she was just kept encouraging me. And so I went to meet agents in New York. And after my third meeting, I met this woman named Bonnie Winston. It was an agency called Winston West. And I went in the room and she says, "Hi, I'm Bonnie. Are you a photographer?" And I said, "No." She goes, "Well, I'm a photo rep. What do you do?" I said, "I'm a hair and makeup guy." And she goes, "Well, we represent photographers. I thought you were a photographer. You were coming to meet me as a photographer." And I go, "Well, I don't consider myself a photographer. I'm a makeup artist and a hairdresser, but I take pictures. And I did a job for J. Crew, and they wanted me to come in and see you. I wanted to come and meet you. They asked me to come and meet photo reps." So she looked at my pictures and was like, "Oh my God, this is incredible." She goes, "Can you hold on a minute?" And I said, "Yeah." And she says, she picks up the phone. She dials the phone. She goes, "Renee, this is Bonnie Winston in New York. I wanted to tell you, I'm about to sign this photographer that I'm meeting right now. His name's Jim Jordan. His pictures are so incredible. And I promise you, I'm going to FedEx you his book tonight. It'll be in Chicago tomorrow morning. And I will never, ever call you to see another photographer again. That's how sure I know you're going to love this kid." And I looked at her like, she gets off the phone. She goes, "Did you hear me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what do you mean you're going to FedEx my book?" And she was like, I go, "What's FedEx?" Because it was when FedEx was just like new. Yeah. She goes, "It's a courier service, and your box of prints will leave New York tonight at 5:00 and be in Chicago tomorrow morning at 10. It's one of the biggest art directors at an ad agency in Chicago." So I was like, I can't give you that. You can't send these pictures. That's all I got. I've been collecting these prints for like 20 years. I go, "I can't, what if you lose it?" I kept making excuses why she couldn't. And she talked me into letting me have it, take the book and sending it to Chicago. And it was the best thing I ever did. And so I go, "I'm flying back to LA tomorrow." She goes, "I'll send the portfolio back to LA to meet you in LA in 2 days." The next day I'm in LA, she called me, she goes, "Jim, are you sitting down?" And I go, "What's up?" She goes, "I just booked you on a 14-day job for Bloomingdale's in New York with the client Renee just booked you." And it was like paying me huge money. And I said, "Bonnie, I can't do it. I don't even know what I'm doing with the camera." And she goes, "You get your ass back to New York." She goes, "I will have the owner of the lab on set with you. I will have the best photo assistants next to you. You show up, I will produce the caterers, the motorhomes, the permits. I will do everything. All you got to do is get back to New York City and hold that camera up to your eye, look through it and see what's beautiful to you and click the button. That's all you have to do. Get back here. And I will worry about all the technical." So I was scared to death. And I went back, and that's kind of when the life-changing moment of my career changed. And I became a fashion photographer. I did that job for 14 days. And my next job was shooting for American Vogue with Ivan Shaw. And he was the art director and photo director of Vogue. And he gave me a job shooting for Vogue. And so my career kind of changed. And that was a kind of a time when I started on my spiritual journey as well. And I started reading a book called The Artist's Way. And it was a book that changed my life. And in the book, it gives you exercise to start journaling every morning. You wake up to write 3 full pages in your journal. And in the third week of me doing that work, and it's all about synchronicity and connecting, and I started writing. In my third week is when I got an agent and started shooting and got that big job for Bloomingdale's, and found out the woman that hired me was doing The Artist's Way as well. And she was on her third week in the exercises it gave her to do. So we were like aligned, couldn't believe that we both were reading and doing the same book on recreating and discovering your recovering and discovering your creative self. And that was what the book's about. And so my life kind of changed at that time and started giving me a boldness and a confidence that, you know what, if I would start walking through the fear, the things that fear me, like my miracles are on the other side of the fear, that I can walk through and see whoa. And the voices in my head that were always like naysaying and like keeping me small and wanting to hide my pictures and not thinking I'm good enough, or the voices that I kept entertaining that were keeping me stagnant and in the same place in my life. And so I started getting these huge jobs and like showing up. Couldn't even believe I like was the photographer that they were paying all this money to, and that I was the one that they were relying on to kind of rebrand their companies and show in these big, huge jobs. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And the voices kept saying, they're gonna find out. The voices in my head that were negative saying, they're gonna find out you're a fraud, you're really not that good, you're faking it. And I just kept pushing past those voices, pushing past the voices. And I just kept stepping in and showing up and, you know, making mistakes and learning and growing and changing. And that's kind of how my photography career started. And then it ended my makeup and hair career. Then I was like on set being the photographer. I'd work with hair and makeup people every day on my set. And if I wanted to go in and fix the hair or change things or fix the clothes, I had the right to go in and do whatever I wanted to. So I'm like, whoa, I have the best of both worlds now. Even if I didn't want to have a makeup artist on set or a hairdresser, I could do that. And the client would pay me to shoot the job and do the makeup and hair. And I was working for Land's End, and I was working for Eddie Bauer, and I was shooting for Marie Claire and Elle and Vogue, and I was doing American Express, and I was shooting for tons of Lord and Taylor and Bloomingdale's and Saks Fifth Avenue and Macy's, and I was doing American Girl. And I just got so seasoned just showing up and doing what I was really good at doing, and loved and encouraging people and having fun while I was doing it and making people look beautiful and encouraging them and kind of just really communicating is what my gift is. And all the people that work with me and all the like my interns and my assistants that work with me always would say to us, what we learn from you is how you communicate. And what we learn from you is how you lead with your heart and that you really love people. And so that was what my gift was, being on set, was loving people and communicating to them and letting them see that I really loved them and cared for them and wanted them to look their very best.
I see.
And I would help them. So a lot of makeup, a lot of photographers would just stand back and take pictures. I would be running in and like, do this and do that and look like this and be like this and like showing them how to work. And I was really, I'm super animated in when I'm on set and when I'm connecting and creating art. Awesome. So that was kind of my photography, how I started in the photography world. And I became really successful and I made a ton of money and I traveled around the world and I met some incredible people and had a really amazing network of people and celebrities and models and makeup people and stylists and art directors and producers and casting directors and clients. And I had a couple, you know, things that, you know, I was on a spiritual journey and I was looking for like God, and I was looking like, what's gonna make me happy? Mm-hmm. And I did all these great things that the world used to be like, whoa, we want your job. You shoot all these beautiful models every day. You shoot all these movie stars. You're friends with everybody. You have amazing cars and houses and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'd always be looking, when they would say that to me, I do all these guest speakings like on these stages as a featured photographer represented by Nikon and Canon. And I do these guest speakings with hundreds of photographers in the audience. They'd have me up on stage and flash my magazine covers on and ask me questions about my career, kind of like this. Mm-hmm. And I'd always think to myself, like, what I think some of these photographers are seeing in me isn't really how I feel. And I was like, they think like I'm got everything figured out and I'm the best, happiest person in the world. But I always knew there was something missing. I was like, I have all this great stuff and it's amazing. And I'm so grateful, but I still felt like this emptiness in me, like there's so much more. And so I just kept, journaling every morning and going on my, my God quest and meditating and going to Indian sweat lodges and going to Kabbalah and going, I met the Dalai Lama from a friend of mine, Leonardo Caprio, and we went to Tibet to meet them, and he'd come to LA and stay at the Chateau Marmont, and we got to go sit with him in his penthouse suite and got to spend time with I went to Agape for 15 years with Reverend Michael Beckwith, and I dabbled, and I went to India a few times and sat and meditated and prayed to all these different gods. And I was searching, like hungry to know what was going to really give me a peace and to fill that hole that I always felt that was missing, that money couldn't fill it. And like all the success that I had and experienced could not fill this thing that was kind of, I felt was missing. And so I ended up, something kind of tragic happened to me, and I ended up in the hospital, and I was basically on my deathbed, and the doctors didn't know what was wrong with me, but my kidneys were failing and they didn't know why. And it was this fluke thing that happened, and they basically came in and gave me my last rites and asking me if I had a will, and I couldn't pick up my head off the pillow. I was IVs, a gas mask, like all this stuff. And my family was all at the foot of my bed crying, and I couldn't believe the situation I was in. And long story short, my sister said to me, they're very, they were Christians and they were pastors of a church. And it's a long story, but I got miraculously healed in the hospital, in my hospital bed, and my life changed. And that's another podcast story, whole story to my healing. And I had a miraculous visitation in the hospital room that picked me up out of the bed, literally lifted me up, and I was completely healed. And my life changed. And when I left the hospital, I said, you know what, it's time for me to get my eyes off of me and wanting to get back to helping people. And so I started just really pressing in of what that was and why I was here and why I was here on earth and what I wanted to really do. And I went back to my roots of helping people and fostering talent. So I opened a company called White Cross Management, and I started having dreams at night. I felt like God was talking to me in my dreams and showing me things. So I'd wake up in the middle of the night like, I can't believe that. And I'd get my journal out and I'd write down these dreams I was having. And I felt like God was telling me I was going to open a company called White Cross. And it was going to be a company, like a refuge of a place where it was going to help people, and specifically beautiful people, and young kids that were in the entertainment business that were getting lost in the entertainment business and taken advantage of. And so I was like, I'm gonna go back to my roots. So I got a business card. I opened my company, White Cross Management. I opened a company called White Cross Productions. And I started going around finding models. And I was in Colorado on a job shooting for Macy's at this dude ranch. And I met this girl named Taylor Hill in the barn, and she was in there with her horse, and she was 14 at the time. And I went up to her. I was like, well, she had a baseball hat on and glasses. And I said, hi, what's your name? She's like, Taylor. I go, is your mom around? She goes, yeah, she's out there. So I went outside to introduce myself to her mom. Long story short, it was Taylor Hill, the Victoria's Secret supermodel. And I discovered Taylor and brought her to California. Her and her mom lived with me, and I developed Taylor, placed a team around Taylor. And today she is the biggest model in the world, a $30 million a year model, and started a career, changed her and her family's life by nurturing her and teaching her and showing her the ropes of this business. And I started finding young men and women that I could manage who I thought had potential. And I got into the business of helping people, not because I wanted to make money, because I wanted to help. And it was from a place of like wanting to raise up kids that were the most beautiful people in the world. Because I think God makes people look so beautiful because they're meant to be in front of people. And I wanted them to be able to use their platform and their voice of their stardom and their career to give a voice to the voiceless and to people that don't have a voice or a platform. And that's why I got into helping people, because I wanted to launch people to stardom so they could turn around and help people and change the world and be life givers. And so I was like, there's nothing more that made me happy than doing that. So I evolved. So as I still am a photographer and shooting great jobs, I have a side business where I have a management company where I was very instrumental in discovering Jeremy Meeks, the hot felon with the blue eyes and the teardrop, his mugshot. He was the prisoner and his mugshot went viral. Are you familiar with Jeremy?
Not that I know of, but yeah, he's probably really famous.
Yeah, his name's Jeremy Meeks, and he was arrested, and I took him out of jail. He was in jail, for a long time, and I turned his career made his message, and blew him up to global stardom. And I was very instrumental in helping Gigi Hadid and working with Yolanda Hadid in the development of Gigi and placing Gigi with her meetings in New York and her agency IMG. And so I really transformed a lot of ways in my business of how I do my business and my entrepreneurship spirit that I have. I'm very active in my modeling management company, and I have about 60 models that I have on board. I have influencers. They're all 360 actors, models, influencers. I represent some writers, a few photographers, some directors. I have a best-selling book out right now that I produced. It's called The Fifth Vital with Mike Malek. And I have a book that I'm writing right now about my journey. It's a documentary. I'm writing with the New York Times bestseller author that I'm co-writing this book. And it's about my journey and struggles of an entrepreneur. I never went to school. I got kicked out of school when I was young. And I got taken away, and I learned by being on the streets and learned by walking through fear and running to the things how I live my life now is I try to acknowledge what I'm afraid of. And I know that the things that I'm afraid of are the things of where I need to be going toward those things. And if I can just push my way through that fear, it's always a miracle on the other side. And so I'm trying to live my life and share that with people, that there's voices in our head that are always talking to us and keeping us doubting ourselves. And there's always a little voice that's like, go, run through it. Trust me, just go. But the voices in my head are so loud and always have been that it's always like kind of, whoa, there's no way I could do that. To kind of keep me stagnant and the same. And I know all of us out there have gifts and talents, and we wouldn't be here on this earth if we didn't have a call on our life or a gift or something. And I just encourage everybody there to get a book, The Artist's Way, and to start journaling and really getting to know yourself and to recognize those voices.
So how can people get your book? Like, is it on Amazon or, yeah?
My book isn't done yet, but it will be on Amazon, definitely. We're writing a screenplay for a film regarding, my challenges of being on the street as a young kid and kind of learning the hard knocks of life and just translating, I have a motto that I keep on my desk every day in front of me, and it's a little thing I typed and laminated, and it just says on here, it's hard to see, but it says vision plus action equals manifestation. And as a visual artist, as a fashion photographer, I'm always seeing beauty in everything. And when I was a kid, I used to cut hair in my mom's garage when I was a little kid. And I cut the dog's hair, I cut trees, I was bonsaiing all the bushes in my neighborhood. I was just so inspired to beautify things. And whatever it was, if it was cutting somebody's hair, cutting the dog's hair, rearranging the room, like people used to call me Jimmy Scissorhands when I was a kid. So I was always like trying to make everything look super beautiful. And so I have a couple things that really helped my career, was like seeing the beauty in everything, like looking at somebody and going, I know exactly what I would do to them to know how the camera is going to see, how the camera will love to see that person. So I have like a radar vision of how I think the camera sees people and to make it beautiful. And I've been kind of successful in doing that as a fashion photographer. And people and clients stand back and see me work and go, whoa, I would have never have seen that. So I'm able to spot talent that the world passes by every day. And I could see somebody and go, whoa, you have a gift. And 100 people in that room wouldn't even know it, see it. But by me taking pictures and doing makeup and hair for so long, I have an eagle eye to spot it, even though it's masked and covered up and it's not really at its full bloom yet. But I have a gift to identify it. And I can do that with people. I can do that with how the world will love to see something. And that's how I've been successful as a photographer, as a makeup artist, as a talent scout, and as a manager.
I see.
I'm an encourager, I'm a connector, and I'm a visionary. And I have vision for you. I have vision when I meet people. I have such vision for them. Sometimes I'll tell people I discover that I want to manage the vision I see for them. And they're like, I can't believe you see that for me. Like, that's crazy. That's huge. I would never see myself doing that. And my job is to impart what I see to people to get them to really start to see it for themselves. And that's so much what I love to do.
I see. So tell me a little bit more about your business. Like, what's your business model? What's your core business? What are the, side things that you're doing? Yeah.
My core business is, I have many businesses, and my core business is my talent management company. And that is the one where I foster and manage all the talent. I have about 60 models, actors, influencers, directors on my roster. I'm also a director. I direct television commercials and print campaigns for multiple different types of clients. I'm a producer. I'm producing a film right now. I'm an executive producer on a film that we're in the process of working with Netflix on. So I'm doing in the film space, and I'm just marketing and branding and using my platforms to just engage in so many different low-lying fruit that keeps coming through the talent part of my business and the influencer part of my business. I have a television show that we're creating right now. It's a documentary, docu-follow about my life as an artist and creating supermodels. So that's going to be coming soon, and that's something we're working on as we speak. My company, White Cross Productions, is producing that television show about me being an artist and the world being able to follow me and discovering the biggest models in the world, and then me transforming people, cutting their hair, changing them, and turning them around to look in the mirror, and they're like the biggest model in the world. And it's going to show me on my journey and creating ad campaigns and branding television commercials, and dealing with young kids and their parents and the tears and the struggles that come along with, and encouraging people. I have a lot of guest speaking events where I'm going on big stages and motivational speaking and inspirational speaking, which I love, love, love to do. And I just want to encourage people to, disregard the fear and don't look around to see how everybody else is doing it, but know that you have a call in your life, and how you figure out what that call is. It's very strategic and it's very simple to do. You just have to quiet the voices in your head and really listen and look around for people that will encourage you to live your best life. So there's a lot of things that I am looking forward to happening, and that's kind of where I'm at right now.
So I've been listening to you, and I think you tell great stories. Like the way you tell your stories, you know how to bring a listener. You're great at telling stories. Would you say you make a good marketer?
Would I be a what?
A good marketer. It's like if let's say you were to market a product, would you know how to market it and sell millions of dollars worth of that product? Yeah.
I think I'm a great marketer.
Okay.
As far as marketing it, like building the brand and putting it out there into the world and how the brand will see it and connecting influencers to the brands. That is definitely my specialty.
Okay.
Is
So
connecting because I believe that the influencers, micro influencers, and the major influencers are the secret to launching all brands now. And so I really have, I have a very big network of influencers, and I'm always learning. I met you on Clubhouse, right?
yeah, Clubhouse.
So I have an agent. His name is Paolo Marino, and he's been my agent for over 25 years. And he's one of my great friends and business partners on different partnerships that we're doing. And, Paolo has really inspired me and connected me to the biggest influencers in the world that he's always encouraged me to take pictures of and help them. And I want to help people. And by me helping people, people turn around and help me. I don't ask for a lot of favors, but I really, really believe in the network and influencers to help build brands and getting connected to those type of people.
Can you share a little bit more about the business model behind the influencer marketing space? Like when you help to develop a model or an influencer, if you don't mind sharing some numbers, like do you make a percentage? Do you make a flat fee? Do you make, if you don't mind sharing, yeah.
Yeah, like as a talent manager, when we're doing deals for influencers or bringing opportunities to our influencers, it depends. Like sometimes it's 15% we make off those deals, or 20%. It depends on what those type of deals are. If I bring a new talent on and make them like a huge model, and I'm connecting them with talent agents, I'm connecting them with a commercial agent and a theatrical agent, and I'm putting model agents around them. My business model is I find somebody I think could be a star. And it's normally a male, a girl, or a guy. Let's say it's in the modeling space. I find them, I do their hair, I cut their hair, I tell them what kind of clothes they need to have, what kind of shoes, what kind of clothes to be on auditions in. I do their photos, their first photos, and then I send them to agents in New York and Paris and London and Spain and LA and New York and Miami, and I launch their photos out to 20 different markets. And in Paris, there's probably 30 modeling agencies that I'll pitch all of those agents, but I go to the top 10 agents first. And then if the best agent in Paris wants to represent my model, we place him in a contract with them. So that agency takes a commission, a 20% commission out of the model's checks on the jobs they do. And that's pretty standard for modeling agencies in New York and all over the world. And in doing that, I place 20 or 30 agents around one model. An agent in Paris, an agent in New York, an agent in London. And the agencies give me a commission, a 10% commission on every job my talents do. But if I book a model directly or do a brand deal and bring the brand to my client, that's when I make another commission of 15 to 20%.
Oh wow, okay. So let me just try to recap, okay? So you get 15 to 20% of the deals. The agency gets 20%. When they give you 10%, is it 10% of the 10% of 20%, which is 2%, or is it 10% of like 10%? Yeah.
They give me 10. The agency, let's say the agency in New York does a job for one of my models, and they book her on a job for $10,000 a day.
Okay.
They will give me 10% of $10,000.
Oh wow! So they're giving you 50% of what they make.
They take 20% from the model,
Mhm.
And then on top of the model, they charge the client 20% on top of the model fee.
I see.
So they get really 40%. And then they give me 10% of the part they charge from the client.
I see. Okay, that's interesting.
So it's like a numbers game, like the way our management company works. Like if we have 50 models, they're all working every day.
Mhm.
We're not literally the ones out calling the clients to book them on jobs. We're managing the agents, so all the agencies are getting along with each other. We're holding hands with the talent,
Mhm.
and we are the ones that are placing them with agents. But a lot of agents fight. They all want to be the one. They're all fighting for clients and in these different territories. So it's kind of a struggle and a juggle for us to get everybody to be nice with each other and work with each other.
Mhm.
And the bigger the model gets, the more tension and fighting it gets, because everybody wants to have
Correct.
the model available for them so they can make the commission.
So you're kind of
For
like a
me, I
platform.
don't care as long as my kids are working.
So you're kind of like a platform with a middleman agency. You're kind of like a middleman, right? So how do you prevent getting undercut? Like how do you prevent the model from working directly with the client and undercutting you? Because that's part of you'll definitely be undercut as a middleman normally. So how do you prevent that?
How do I keep the models from undercutting us as a middleman?
Yeah.
You're awesome. Just by having relationships with the talent.
Okay.
And knowing, bringing value to our talent, and knowing, look, if they want to undermine us and kick us out of the picture, then we don't need to be doing what we're doing. We don't need to continue shopping them and bringing opportunities and helping them either. So we have a very honest, transparent with the people and the character of models we work with.
I see.
Like if we notice this is their character and this is how they want to do, we don't want to partner with them.
Got it.
And obviously we have contracts that protect us from that as well. Like
Yeah.
if we get a call and we're like, oh, we need 5 blonde girls, and we find out this one model is kind of shady with us, we're not going to put her in the package for that job.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Or we probably, if we know they're doing it, we normally would drop the model or the actor.
I see.
And you know what I mean? There's deals that we do, like every deal, like it's all negotiable also. Like some clients don't pay that much, and they'll say, the agency might say, we're only getting 5%. And we're like, okay, we're fine. We want the girl to win.
Yeah.
So some jobs where it's not about the money, it's about the notoriety or the prestige of the job.
I see.
So yeah, so that's a great question. And you know, we've faced that before, and it's just kind of policing stuff. But I don't want to be a manager that's a police officer chasing and looking and worrying. Like if that's the case, there are too many great people out there that need help. Like I said, I'm not.
I think it's amazing what you've built. It's amazing, you know, how huge a career you have built with so many supermodels and influencers. If anyone wants to find you or find your models, or if anyone wants to find you, what are the social media channels you're on? And yeah.
Yeah, my Instagram is Jim Jordan Photography, and my management company is at White Cross Management. My website is jimjordanphotography.com, and Twitter is, I think, the same, and Clubhouse, it's Jim Jordan Photo. And that's it. I'm just trying to figure it out too, like everybody else. You know, I'm open, and I've spent many years like helping and fostering people, and I'm kind of pivoting a little bit now in my career and where I want to go back out into the guest speaking space, and I'm doing a lot of mentoring and private coaching with a lot of really great clients. And there are a lot of clients that maybe I don't want to manage and take on a day-to-day, but they want my help. I'm very, you know, I just did a show with Yolanda Hadid on Lifetime called Making a Supermodel with Yolanda Hadid, and I was just working with Yolanda on that, and I'm very excited for what's to come with my book and the guest speakings. I'm getting ready to do a TED Talk and a book with a TED Talk, and I'm really excited to get on the platform and talk and encourage and let people know it's not about going to college. And maybe for me it wasn't, but for some it is. But I want to let you know, like, I come from hard knocks and I come from the streets, and I'm not that good at social media or typing I'm not that good at the computer. I'm not really good at all with anything technical. But what I think has driven my career is my communication skills and my heart and wanting to help people and giving my gifts away. And I know that all the gifts that come to me now because of that are from above. And it's like the more I give, the more I get. And the more I want to hold on to things, it's like I dry up. It's like the Dead Sea. There's only one way in, and it just sits there and everything dies there. And I look at my life like I don't want to just continue to get and hold and be stingy with my gifts. And the more I give it, the more it flows through me. The more people I can help, the more people I can touch with my story, with my photos, and I'm just always wanting to help people. So if there's people out there that want to be talent or models, or they have kids, that I'm open to looking at everybody. And there's submission page on my website for my management. It's whitecrossmanagement.com. There's a submission page there, and you can send your photos or your resumes or whatever you do, and our whole team looks at that. I have a team, a staff of people that work with us every day on the photography business and the White Cross Management. And I'm creating, like I said, the cosmetic company, White Cross Beauty and White Cross Cosmetics, and that's coming soon. And we're in development in that, as well as our collection. It's a clothing connection. It's a very classy, timeless apparel company that it's going to be really awesome.
Okay, one last question. Have you thought about becoming public listed, or, you know, you're doing big things, right? So have you thought about being public listed, or what's your vision for the future?
Have I thought about what? I'm sorry?
Becoming public listed, which means listing your company on a stock exchange, something like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. Being a IPO, yeah.
I haven't really, because I don't really even know that much about it. I just wake up every day and I'm just going for stuff. And I'm not really, like, I'm not technical with the computers and stuff. I don't really even know about like stock markets and investment groups and selling and mergers. I don't really know about all that. And I'm super open to it because I work my tail off. Like, I work like, literally like 15, 18 hours a day. And I'm like going for it. I don't stop. Even on my days off, I'm so inspired that I want to keep creating. And I'm creating, and I have so much content that's constantly coming in, I can't even get to it. I've been so inspired by my life and by my gifts and my career that I forgot to stop and have a family.
Awesome.
So I'm like in love with the process. I'm in love with people. I'm in love with the gifts and beautifying everything I see.
Awesome.
So yes, I'm open to investors. I'm open to people coming in and partnering with me to help me so I can continue to create beautiful things. And that's an awesome question, but I've been afraid to ask people for help.
I see. All right, thank you so much for sharing your story. I was so inspired. I mean, you're such a good storyteller. I'm sure you're such a good marketer as well. And it's amazing how well you've been able to connect with so many celebrities. And I mean, Jim is just being humble. When he said that he doesn't have any social media, he has like 100,000 followers on Instagram and all that. So he was just being humble. Yeah. Anyway, so for those of you who like this video, make sure you like this video, comment what you've learned from Jim, and maybe you can reach out to him and thank him for this interview. And also make sure you share this video with as many people as you know. All right. Take care, and I'll see you real soon.
You're awesome. Thank you.